Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is going to be a stitch with me. I haven't done one of those in a really long time, and I just thought I would come on here, do some stitching, talk to you guys about books and just a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, just have a very casual chat with you guys. So first I wanted to show you what I am reading. And then my book of the month order came in. So I started reading this yesterday and I really like it. It is called A Flicker in the Dark by Stacy Willingham. I just read one of her other books and I forget. Let me see if it tells you what else she has written. Okay, so that's the end of the book. She has written something else though, because I know I read it. Let me see if it says, no, it doesn't say what else she wrote. I can't remember, but that was also really good. Okay, so what this one is about, Chloe Davis, when she was 12, her father was convicted of killing 6 teenage girls in her hometown. 20 years later, Chloe is a psychologist and getting ready to get married, and a girl goes missing. And then I think another girl goes missing, which I haven't gotten to that part yet. But it's like, it reminds her of that time with her father. So who did it? Like, I feel like there's more to what happened when she was a kid than what the book is letting on at the moment. I'm 93 pages in. So I will be reading this definitely more tonight. But yeah, really, really good so far. So then I got my book of the month order. So they always send a bookmark. And this one says, welcome to the friend zone in a good way. So I am now considered one of their friends. I think when you do 3 boxes, you are considered a friend, which means I can have up to 4 or 5 books every box now. And then when you do 12 consecutive boxes, you're considered a BFF, which I don't know what the benefits are there. But yeah, I save the bookmarks. I really like them. So this, I actually was planning on ordering it. These are short stories. They included this for free because I didn't pay for it. So I was very pleased with that. And my friend Becky also got this for free and she read it. So I love short stories. I will talk about 2 that I read. One was so utterly disturbing. Wow. So, got that to read. And then my choice was Like Mother, Like Daughter by Kimberly McCreight. This was my add-on. So this book says when Cleo, a student at NYU, arrives late for dinner at her childhood home in Brooklyn, she finds food burning in the oven and no sign of her mother. Then Cleo discovers her mom's bloody shoe under the sofa. Something terrible has happened. So, and it says here that Kat's been lying too. She's not just a lawyer, she's her firm's fixer. And so this is an emotional suspense novel, according to this. So very curious to read that. I've been trying to branch out the books that I read, where they're not just all, you know, the wife is finding her husband's trying to kill her or something like that. And then this one by Sarah Pekkanen. I guess that's how you say her name. I really like her. I got her other book. Did she write the one, House of Glass? That was last month's selection. This one is called Gone Tonight. And it says 41-year-old Ruth Sterling is on the run from her past while trying to hold on to her future by protecting her 24-year-old daughter, Catherine. It's always been just the 2 of them against the world, but how well do they really know each other, and what made Ruth, a pregnant teenager all those years ago, run from her life? So again, an emotional thriller. So we'll look forward to reading them. And Frida McFadden has some books coming out. One is in, I want to say it's next week, and it's like a satire. Looking forward to that. Then she has one in October, and then she has one in January. And Zoe Stage also has a sequel to Baby Teeth coming out. I don't know when. This month? Yeah, there are definitely some really good books coming down the pike. But I have so many to read. Okay, so let's get to some stitching. I have not done any more than what I showed you guys in the video. So I am in this little section. I don't think I did. I did this little section. I did these the other day. I don't remember honestly what I showed you guys in the video. So when I work on perforated paper and when it's solidly stitched like this, if you notice I flipped it upside down because it's easier to reach this side because I'm right-handed without having to have it right side up and be reaching under, reaching over. It's very easy to just go doot, right? So I tend to always keep the needle minder up here in the corner where, so it can be oriented, meaning, so I know which is the top left corner. And someone asked me a question. They said, where are all your needle minders? I have been systematically, and this happened over the last couple months, cleaning them out. Some of them I just chucked because they were really old and some pieces had broken off. But a lot of them I had sold. I gave away some. I have only kept a handful because some of them were just so heavy that even when I stitched on fabric, it like weighed it down. So I'm very selective. I don't collect needle minders anymore. I used to buy a ton. I just don't do that anymore. I probably only have about 15 or 20 now that I have kept. And when I stitch on paper, I literally just have the magnets because it is the lightest. Now, someone also asked me a question. When I stitch with paper, do I hold it in my hand? They're afraid the paper would buckle. This is how I hold it, just like this. It's lightweight enough that I make sure I wash my hands before I stitch. And then I just hold it where I'm at. And if I'm over here, then I can hold it here and it's just fine. I also have attached this to mini stretcher bars that are used for needlepoint. And that works really well too if you're really afraid of bending the paper. Someone had asked me a question too. If you get a crease in the paper, is it ruined? Pretty much, because I like to say the paper is strong but fragile, because the paper is pretty strong. It takes a lot, I feel like, to bend it, mess it up, but you can crease it if you are not careful. And yeah, you're not getting a crease out of it. At least not that I have found. So you need to be careful. That's why I keep this when I'm not stitching on it. I keep it in a hardcover portfolio because then it protects it. And then when I'm traveling and I take my stitching with me, like when I go to my retreat in September, I will just put the portfolio in my bag and this will not get messed up, because you could easily, by throwing it in a bag with no protection, you could easily bend it. And I've come way too far on this piece to mess it up at this point. Okay, so let's chat about some stuff. So when I am working on this, I have my pattern, and I think I showed it on my Markup XP app, which I absolutely love because you can highlight it, you can enlarge it, and I have that really nice iPad stand, which I will be taking that with me when I go to the retreat in September. And I'll also be bringing Bill's tablet, or maybe not, because yeah, I only need my iPad, because at night when I go up to the room, I'll just take my iPad with me if I want to watch something. See, when I'm here, I look at my pattern on my iPad, but then if I'm watching something or listening to a podcast, I will use Bill's Google tablet, which he essentially gave me. He never uses it. So it's nice that that is getting some use now. I had to factory reset it because it was tacked to his email. So I did the factory reset, put it through my email, put all my apps on it. It's all good to go. And when I was stitching on, what day? Monday. I was off work on Monday. I stitched on Monday a little bit. And instead of watching something, I'm still watching Ted Lasso. I'm in the 3rd season. I decided I wanted to listen to a podcast. And a long time ago, when the podcast first came out, Something Was Wrong, I listened to. Now they have like 21 seasons of that show, and I have not, I'm way behind. So I went on there and I started listening to, I don't know if it's the most recent season. The whole season is dedicated to stalking. And so I started listening, and it was nice to listen and not have to look up at something. I could just concentrate on my stitching. So I did that, and that was a nice little change from, like I said, watching something. But yeah, so my glasses are due to arrive on Friday, and I'm very excited about that because I ordered 3 pairs of glasses. So for 3 pairs of glasses from Payne Optical, I know it's Payne, P-A-Y-N-E. I don't know if it's called optical or not, but if you put in Payne glasses in Google, it'll come up. My mom turned me on to that site because that's where she has gotten her glasses. So the glasses I currently have, I've gotten from there. Not my readers. My readers I get from the Dollar Tree. But when I was at the eye doctor, my doctor asked me about my readers, and I said, I'm going to be honest, I get them from the Dollar Tree because they're so inexpensive. And she said, well, that's all well and good. She said, however, your eyes are not the same strength, so you're doing yourself a little bit of a disservice by not getting prescription readers. So I was like, okay. So when I left the doctor, they had given me my prescription for distance and the computer. And then they also gave me my prescription for readers. So when I came home, I decided to get 2 pairs of glasses for distance that I wear most often around the house, especially when I'm working. And I ordered 1 pair of readers because I still really like my Dollar Tree readers. But we'll see. When I get the glasses, I'll show you guys because the readers are really cool. They're like these big pink cat eye ones I got. But the other 2 glasses are very similar to the ones I have. I like the rectangle frames. And for all 3 glasses, plus like this protection, if I don't like them, I can return them for a 50% refund or something. And shipping, it came to $180, which I didn't think was too hateful for 3 pairs of glasses, considering I have spent $400 for 1 pair of glasses at the eye doctor before. I was taking a drink. So, but yeah, the 2 glasses that I got for distance and computer and stuff like that, I got blue blocking protection on them. And then I also got the transition lenses so they turn into sunglasses, because let me tell you, I was so annoyed at trying to find a pair of sunglasses I liked that didn't hurt my head or my ears or anything like that, and then not breaking them or losing them, because I tend to do that with sunglasses. And then, you know, when you get in the car, I have to take off my regular glasses, put on the sunglasses, vice versa. So I paid for the transition lenses. That's why, too, it wound up costing $180 for the 3 pairs, because the blue blocking was extra and the transition was extra. And I can't wait. I'm looking forward to just being able to walk outside, and I have sunglasses now. So we'll see how that goes. But that they are coming Friday. I was off work today. So before I go into that, I'm working tomorrow, which is Thursday, and then Friday. So last night, I decided I wanted to do my toenails and my fingernails with New Color Street. My fingernails I was definitely going to do because when it starts growing out, I can really tell. My toenails will last a good month or two. It takes a long time before you have to really reapply that. But I knew it was going to take some time because taking them off and then, you know, shaping up your nails, I put a base coat on, all of that. And I said, I need to find something to watch because Bill is working the rest of the week. Even though he retired, he has a different job. Not full-time, though. He's working part-time. But he has to get up at the same time that he did for the other job. So 8 o'clock, he was in bed. So I got all my stuff ready, took it downstairs, got in bed. And if you have Hulu, there is a series called Betrayal. And they have 2 seasons. The first season I watched, and it was really good. The second season just came out, and that is what I watched last night. It was 3 episodes, and it was about this husband and wife, and the wife discovers, I want to say her name was Ashley Litton. Is that right? I think that's right. She had found what they call child abuse or child sexual abuse material on his iCloud account, pictures and videos. And when, you know, they tell the backstory and then how she discovered, it's heartbreaking. It's riveting. It truly is riveting because it shows you that you really don't know somebody. You think you know somebody and then you don't. It was really good. So I recommend watching that if you're looking for something to watch. So, yep, did my nails. I really like this gray glitter. I really like that one. I have one more pack and then I'm going to have to order new stuff. So every time you order from Color Street's website, it's buy 3, get 1 free. And so it winds up costing $42 for 4 sets of nails, which I don't think is bad at all because that will last me, it usually lasts me 2 months. So not too bad. So I was grateful that I was off of work today because I had a dentist appointment at 11:20 a.m. And if I would have had a job, I would have missed an hour of the job. I would have had to leave in the middle of it and then come back, which I've done that. And I was prepared to do that because I had made this appointment 4 months ago, but it worked out. It worked out that there was no job today. And it's obviously so much easier for me to do a dentist or a doctor appointment when I'm off work, but you can't always plan it like that. So I was in my head almost waiting for the dentist office to call and cancel the appointment. And I say that because my mom and sister and stepfather, Charlize's dad, we all have the same dentist. And when my grandparents were alive, they also went to that dentist. I've been going to this dentist for 25 years. Long time. And I've had a lot of dental work. So if you remember 4 months ago, I had the other side of my mouth, the scaling and root planing. And then in November, I had had the other half. So between the couple of months, I had had my whole mouth done. I have fought with periodontist and, periodontal disease, gum disease, my whole adult life. We weren't very good about going to the dentist when I was a kid, and not until, like I said, I was in my early 20s did I really start going religiously, and I go religiously now. And whoops, I'm sorry, I'm hitting the tripod. And I'm adamant about using my water pick. Using the water pick is so easy compared to flossing. And I use the water pick religiously since I've had my teeth scaled and root planed and all that. Wait a minute, I gotta highlight this. Give me 1 second. Gotta highlight that section and figure out where I am going on this piece. All right, is there any more green I can stitch? Now I do that too. Like once I have a bunch stitched like I do here, I will go through and see what colors I can stitch. Okay, yeah, there is down here. Okay, this section right here is that same green color. Okay. So I had been going to this dentist for a long time, and when I was there for the first root scaling and planing, I had had a temp hygienist do it, and I really liked her. Great. Okay. I don't care. I mean, my hygienist that I had had for the last 20 years retired. Loved her. Absolutely loved her. So when I came back 2 months later to get the other side of my mouth done, different hygienist, different person. Okay. Again, no problem, because you trust that everyone knows what they're doing. But I noticed that the office, like the staff was different. There wasn't as much staff. Things seemed to be changing. Then when I got my root canal and crown in December, it was early of 2024. It was like one girl behind the counter and like only the dentist. And I was like, what is going on here? Well, the dentist apparently, and at least I think this is correct, had sold the practice to a corporation. So it changed the format of how things were done. And there was a lot of employee turnover. Things were done differently. And I got the sense that things weren't going well. So a month or two ago, my mom called me and she was like, you're not going to believe this, but Charlize had a hygienist appointment, a cleaning appointment, and they called an hour before her appointment to cancel it, saying they didn't have a hygienist. What? What dental office does not have a hygienist? That's crazy. So we kind of just left it there. Like we got off the phone and I was like, I wonder if my appointment is going to be canceled. And Bill's been looking for a new dentist. And when I told him about what was going on, he was like, well, I'm not going to go there, obviously. So they confirmed my appointment. Everything was fine. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go. Let me tell you, when I walked in that dental office, it looked like a completely different dental office in a good way. Full staff behind the counter for administrative. Full dental staff from what I could see. All different people. My normal hygienist was there, which was nice. So when she called me back, she explained that the corporation does not own the practice anymore, that the practice was sold to a local dentist that has been in the area for 15 years, and that dentist brought over her entire staff. Fantastic, because now it's wonderful in there. It looks like the dental practice that I remember from 25 years ago. My dentist is still there, but there is another dentist, the one that bought the practice, and then her whole staff. And they have 3 hygienists now. And it's great. So I said, okay, fantastic. I was so very happy. So she said, my gums are looking really good. And she said, are you flossing, water picking? I said, I'm going to be honest. I really am bad about flossing, but I am religious and fanatic about the water pick. She goes, that's fine. She said, if you're using your water pick, you don't have to floss. Fabulous. No one's ever told me that. So I only floss really if I have something that's stuck in my tooth. But I am very diligent about the water pick, and my water pick is cordless, wireless, so I can, when I go somewhere, I take it with me in my suitcase, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. And I am very diligent, like I said, very diligent. I put mouthwash in the water pick, and I really take my time and do, each tooth, each section of my mouth. And she said she could really tell. And I was so glad, because that is the first appointment that I've had in a while where they have said your gums are looking good. So I was very pleased about that. So now she wants to see me back in 4 more months. And she said, if your gums are still looking as good as they are now, she said, then we can go back to your normal 6-month appointment. Okay, fantastic. So, but yeah, I got up this morning and had a bunch of stuff to do, some stuff to do for work, some house chores, just then getting myself ready, just a lot of stuff. And I didn't get to eat anything, because also here's something that happened. So I know I've told you guys that my sister Charlize is going through the process of becoming a 911 operator for our county. And it is a long process. She had a very long application to fill out, which was, I want to say, approximately 100 pages. I mean, that sounds crazy, right? She had to take a test, which she passed. Then she had to do an interview, which she passed. So now they are doing the background check. And she had to list literally every person she's ever known, truly. And so this morning, before I left for the dentist, the recruiter called me to confirm my email address, and he was like, I'm going to be sending over a questionnaire that I need you to fill out concerning Charlize, and if you can send it back as soon as you can. Let me tell you how difficult it is to accurately get your point across about if you think someone is fit for a job, right? If you think someone will be good in high stress situation. Or one of the questions was, but what I said to myself was, I'm just going to go with my first instinct, right? I mean, obviously I love my sister very much. I want her to get this job. I want her to do good, but I also want to be honest on this questionnaire. So one of the questions was, would you trust Charlize with your safety? Because remember, 911, there's going to be people calling that are facing probably the worst thing they've ever faced in their life. And one of the roles of an operator, I would guess, is to make this person feel safe. So I sat there for a second and I said, one thing that I wish I would have said for that question was, if you remember when Bill and I were teaching Charlize how to drive, there was a couple of weeks where I took her out by myself. I never felt anxious or afraid when she drove. I never felt like she was going to get us in some fiery car wreck. I trusted her driving. I felt safe in the car with her. I never doubted 1 second. I wish I would have put that in the question, in the answer, and I didn't. And I didn't think about it until after I'd already submitted it. But what I did say was, look, I'm 50 years old. Charlize is 19. I said, I have already been thinking about the end of my life. I said, and if my husband passes before me and I am by myself, I said, Charlize is going to be my greatest source of safety and support when I get older because of our age difference. So that was one thing that I said. And then at the end, they ask you, is there anything else you would like to say about Charlize, why you think she would be fit for this job? And I decided to fill it out. So what I said was, Charlize is young, meaning she is not completely set in her ways yet, like older people would be trying to get this job. I said, so she can be trained to be an exemplary employee at this, meaning you can mold her, right? And I don't think that's a negative thing. That's a positive for sure. So I hope my answers helped to give them some insight on her. Charlize has been very well liked in every job she's had, and she has done very good at every job that she's had. So fingers crossed, because I'm sure she's going to be finding out here probably in the next couple weeks. And then she has to go for like fingerprinting and a physical. And then she has training starting in October, I think. Something like that. So, yeah. So I did all that, then went to the dentist. And then when I came out of the dentist, I decided to call my mom. Now, most of the time, my mom and I converse via Facebook Messenger or text message. I don't particularly like the phone, talking on the phone, but I wanted to talk to her about the dentist because we hadn't talked about it since they had canceled Charlize's appointment. And I decided to call her because, first off, I was off work, so I had time to talk to her. But it was going to be way too long for me to try to type in a Facebook message. I wound up talking to my mother for over an hour, and it was a really good conversation because we just like transitioned into a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, they had made another appointment for her, but I told her all about what my hygienist had told me. So she was very glad to hear all of that. But yeah, talked to her for a good long while. I called her in the car when I was heading home. And talked to her the whole way. Like once I got in here, I ate lunch while I was talking to her. I got dinner ready. We are having pulled pork in the crock pot. Now the recipe I use for pulled pork in the crock pot is McCormick's slow cooker seasoning, which calls for 3 pounds of pork, apple cider vinegar, ketchup, and brown sugar. It's a very easy recipe. And then you crock pot it. And I use crock pot liners now, which are amazing because then you aren't messing up your crock pot. You just literally pull the liner out and throw it in the trash and your crock pot is clean. So we will have that for the next 2 nights because with Bill working 12-hour days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we need to have easy dinners those 3 days because he is not going to be getting home until close to 7 o'clock. Now, tomorrow, I am probably going to be working until he's home. Our job is supposed to go until 6 o'clock here. And then I'm usually, depending on where we are in editing, I'm usually an hour or so, maybe a little less, behind the end of the job because I have stuff to do at the end of the day. So tomorrow is probably going to be a long day. So we are going to there's enough pulled pork that we can have it tonight and tomorrow. And then Friday we will either have hamburgers or pasta. So we'll see. Saturday, we might go and see the new Twister movie with my stepdaughter. That's still up in the air. I gotta switch how I do that. So that's something that may happen on Saturday. But this morning, so when I got up this morning, I tend to read, I get a cup of coffee, and I tend to stay in bed and read for a little bit when I have time in the morning. But when I get my recliner, which we are barreling down to that time. I mean, today is August 7th, and the chair is supposed to be available for pickup September 24th. So we are heading towards that time. I don't think when it gets here I'm going to believe it, because I've been waiting since June 9th for this chair. But I really think that instead of laying in bed in the morning and reading when I have that opportunity, I will get my cup of coffee and come up here and sit in my chair in the library and read. Absolutely. I am very, very, very much looking forward to having that chair there and reading. And it was funny because it was it last week? Bill just noticed the memorial sign for the library for Charles and Oscar. He just noticed it. I didn't show him when it came in because I didn't really tell him I was ordering it. And I was like, I didn't think he really cared about it. But he really liked it. He goes, "Oh, I really like that sign." And I said, "Yeah, I decided to get something to commemorate my grandfather because he was the one that took me to the library all those years when I was a kid." And my frame shipped for the artwork by Nora. And I need to go to the public library because our library, our main branch of our library that's near me, they redid the whole library. They tore it down and rebuilt it. And I have yet to, it's been open for a couple months and I have yet to go. And I'm curious if they have used books for sale because they did before. So I need to get in there. I need to actually get a new library card because I can't find mine. So I may do that too, but I need to get in there and check it out because it's beautiful. It looks beautiful from the outside. So I guarantee you it is probably quite stunning on the inside. Trying to think what else. Okay, to the 2 short stories I read. Good God. The one short story I read that I had seen. Oh, by the way, I called down a bunch of my Facebook groups. It was getting way out of hand. I only belong to one book group now. I think like 2 stitching groups. It's a handful of groups. I really just left a whole bunch of groups that I was in. Because what was happening in the book groups is people were cross-posting. So I was seeing the same posts in like 4 of the groups. And I thought, okay, I only need to belong to one of these. So in one of the groups, wait a minute, let me highlight this section here. I like that you can just do this with your finger. I do not have a pen or a stylus for my iPad. It's okay. All right, what do I want to stitch next? I'm going to do this little section over here. Is that this? Let me see. Yeah, I think that's that. Okay, it'll be right there. Because this is the page break right here. This is a page break. This is the second page, this little bit over here. So I will probably do that color. What is that color? 335. This very pretty pink. Okay, so one of these short stories that I saw a couple people recommend, and they said it was disturbing, but, it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, okay. It is called 100% Match. It is about this guy who knows all these statistics about women and what they prefer in a mate. He is a fast food cook and he meets a woman. That is the bare bones of it. There were parts in this book that were so disturbing. I thought, what in the world am I reading right now? And I had to read something else after it to like cleanse my brain. I want to say that short story was 87 pages. I read that in one day. I mean, it was one evening. And then one of my Amazon first reads for August, I think it was, Erin Hildebrand did a short story called Natural Selection about this woman who goes on this Galapagos Island trip. And at the last minute, her boyfriend, they're at the airport, her boyfriend has to not go on the trip and she goes on it by herself. And it's about her just self-discovery and then figuring out what really happened with her boyfriend. It was very good. And I want to say it was only like 60 pages. And you know, I count those in my book reading. I don't read a ton of short stories, but in my opinion, they count just as much as other books. Because I mean, let's face it, there are some books I'll read that are over 400 pages. Some are only 200. You would not count them differently. So as of right now, counting all of the short stories I have read, I want to say I've read 68 books out of my goal of 100. I don't know how many books I have to read per week to meet that goal of 100. If I go in there, it'll tell me. But yeah, very proud of myself for doing all of that reading. And obviously, I don't think my to be read pile is going to get any smaller unless I go through a month or two from book of the month where I literally only get one book, or you can even skip a month if you don't see any books that you want. So that's the only time that I feel like I'll make a dent in my to be read pile. Because even if I'm reading one book a week, when I do my book of the month, I'm buying 3 or 4 books. So I'm just replenishing those books. Do you know what I mean? And I still haven't even gotten the gift card from my dad for my birthday where I was planning to buy books with it. And that would be probably a good 5 or 6 books. But yeah, I'm so grateful all the time that I read. I just love it so much. And I saw something on Instagram where it was like, you know, one of the benefits of reading, your neighbors are never going to tell you you're reading too loud. You know, it's something you can do in solitude. You don't need anyone else to do it. It's quiet. And it truly transports me to different situations and thoughts and all kinds of stuff that, you know, normal everyday life might not provide that for you. But yeah, so I'm trying to think, is there anything else to chat about? Why do I keep pulling the thread out of my needle? That's annoying. Yeah, what time is it? Okay, it's 2:40 p.m. when I'm recording this. Bill's not going to be home until almost 7. Like I said, very grateful I have off today because I've already done all of my house chores. I've already checked the mail. All that's done. Prep for tomorrow is done. Like I literally, if I wanted to, could stitch the day away or read. This would be when I would probably be sitting in the library reading. What I'm really looking forward to with that is in the winter, if we get snow, being able to sit in the chair because the chair faces the window in that room, and being able to look out and see the snow falling. That is what I'm hopeful for. At least one day of that, right? We tend to not get a lot of snow here, so we'll see. But yeah, one of the Facebook groups that I kept myself in was Carolyn Manning's group. I really like it. People have done some beautiful work. Oh my God, there was a woman. So my friend Becky is working on one of Carolyn's designs that is the stained glass, I think, where, you know, it's all outlined in black and then the flowers or things are colored. This woman, she did all of the black outline. And now she gets to go in and fill in the color. And I was like, what an awesome way to approach that. What a cool way to do it. Now, would I want to do that? I don't know, because I like how I do it, where I will stitch what's touching other things, because for me, it eliminates a lot of counting errors, right? That's how I've only completed one other Carolyn Manning Designs. I did Chameleon, and that's how I did that one. Like, I would only stitch something that was touching something else. But it looked so cool. She showed a picture of the black outline, and it looked really, really awesome. And what a neat, like I said, what a neat way to approach stitching a pattern like that. But yeah, I love stitching on paper. We know this. So I highly recommend, if you want to stitch on paper, doing 18 count paper. The holes are really easy to see. I don't ever need my light unless it is nighttime. And I like taking the paper to a retreat, especially Ocean City, because in the conference room that we sit in, there's really good lighting. I bring my Halo Glow light, but I usually don't need it. Not if I'm stitching on paper. So, yeah. And I'm looking around, like I was looking around the other day at my walls, and I'm like, where do I want to start my Carolyn Manning Designs wall? What I'm thinking is, at least initially, I think I'm going, I have a space of wall above my closet in my office that I currently have 6 stitched pieces on. And I think I'm going to start my wall there. As I put up a piece, I'll move another piece or get rid of it. The pieces I have up there I really like, especially there's Little House Needleworks Miss Peepers. And you know, I don't know about you, but I can look at a piece a lot of times and remember what I was doing in my life when I stitched it. Like that Miss Peepers, first of all, it's on 35 count linen. Ma'am. 35 count linen. And I used 1 strand, and it's on Weeks Dye Works linen. I used the colors that was called for. And I remember stitching that at least one night when I stitched on it. I was in bed. It was before I had a TV in my room. And I had a Kindle Fire, and I was watching the movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones that was, oh, I can see it in my head, where she was a psychiatrist and this girl had killed her husband, and you didn't know if she did it on purpose or if she was sleepwalking. What was that movie called? Everyone's screaming it, I'm sure. It was like 2 words. Oh, I gotta look it up. Wait a minute. Give me a second. I'm going to tell you what it was. I'm going to put in Catherine Zeta-Jones, if I can type. The movie was so good. I highly recommend it. And that was a role that she normally doesn't play. Side Effects. That was it. It also had Channing Tatum. I don't know why I always get his name wrong. I want to say Tatum Channing. I don't know why. It had Channing Tatum in it, Rooney Mara, and it also had Jude Law. Really good movie. Yeah. Ooh, you can watch the movie on Tubi. I'm going to have to watch that. I'm glad I looked it up. I didn't even know that Tubi had it. It's so good. So this tells you, how old is this movie? Does it tell me the year? It doesn't. Wait a minute. That's not Catherine Zeta-Jones. Wait a minute. It's got to be. Yes, she's a psychiatrist, of course. What year is this movie? 2013. Wow. Okay, so that movie is 11 years old. So good. If you like suspense movie, Tubi. Tubi is a free app you can get, and they have a lot of cool movies on there. Highly recommend. Okay, so that was that one. And then, yeah, that I always remember that movie when I look at that piece. But I have a couple spots in my office available that I can move those pieces around when I frame my Carolyn Manning stuff. I think it would be such a striking vision to have 5 or 6 pieces of Carolyn Manning's done and put up there. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably just order a frame from the Rusty Roof on Etsy. They'll do custom frames, and they're very nice to work with. And they have really colorful, pretty frames. So I will probably go with them for the frame. And I'm debating whether to, I'm probably going to frame it right up against the border. So you're just going to see it solidly stitched. I didn't do that with the other one. With Chameleon, I left probably an inch of fabric all the way around. But you can frame it however you want to. But since this is paper, and it's going to be really easy to frame it, I got to end that thread. I will probably frame it right up to the border. But yeah, I think that's all I got. Look, this is almost an hour. I did not think I would have that much to talk about. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.